subscribe.
That's right, y'all. Subscribe if you haven't already. Listen, welcome back to another episode of Andrea Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea. Back to bringing news and commentary you can use. Listen, y'all, here in Georgia, it's cold, okay? It is cold in Georgia. Listen, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourself. And I want to say thank you so much for supporting the channel. Listen, you know I'm bringing you coverage on the migrant crisis, right? Very concerning what's happening regarding our U.S.-Mexico border, okay? If you're wondering, okay, Andrea, what do you even mean by a migrant crisis, okay? Make sure, look in the description of this video. I'll also link it, okay? So towards the end of this video, you'll be able to click and watch the playlist. But make sure you check out my migrant crisis coverage playlist so you'll be up to date, up to speed on what's happening, okay? I've talked about the migrant crisis as it relates to the Texas area, correct? I've talked about Arizona, okay? We've talked about other cities, New York City, Los Angeles, Denver, okay? In this video, okay, I want to take you to Chicago, all right, and give you an update. Listen, make sure you watch this video in its entirety because y'all already know I want to know your thoughts, okay? And I read your comments. I know many of you are frustrated. Many people have different emotions. You're certainly entitled to your opinion, okay? But what I'm doing here is I'm reporting what's happening, right? And, you know, I give my opinion on it. You give your opinion. And, you know, we go from there, okay? But I want to take you to Chicago, y'all. Let's talk about what's happening in Chicago as it relates to the migrant crisis. And I want to know your thoughts, okay? Listen, y'all. In Chicago, okay? We're talking about Chicago, Illinois. It's being reported, okay? This is right here on my desk. It's being reported that there are a string, okay, of retail thefts, burglaries, okay, allegedly by migrants, and it's plaguing Chicago suburbs, okay? Let's talk about it, y'all. Listen, according to my sources, a Chicago suburb has been battered. These are the words, y'all, by a string of recent crimes committed by migrants who live in or near the Windy City, okay? According to my sources, from October the 23rd to January 17th, a total of 47 migrants, okay, according to reports, were arrested in a suburb called Oak Brook, Illinois, okay? If anyone knows where that is, mostly for alleged property crimes, okay? According to Brian Strauss, the chief of police for the Oak Brook Police Department. Now, as we've shared, y'all, you know, as the migrants, families, men, women, and children, they're crossing over into the U.S.-Mexico border under different situations. I don't know how often. I don't know if it's daily or weekly. Okay, maybe we could say weekly. We have gotten reports that the migrants are being bused, okay, sent on a bus to cities like Chicago, right? I've even told you that there are cities that have established ordinances to say, hey, you know, you can't just drop them off by bus unplanned, unannounced, right? There has to be some type of coordination. So what I'm saying is, and I've said this before, the migrants who are coming, the men, women, children, families, right? They're in survival mode, okay? They may be coming. I'm just reporting, y'all. They may be coming with very little food, clothing, maybe even in certain situations, right? In most cases, they don't have permanent shelter, okay? They may be going from place to place. So, as I have said before, they're in survival mode, okay? So, again, as I have been saying, this news comes as no surprise, okay? Listen to what has happened, y'all, okay? Most of the migrants, my article says, most of the migrants who were arrested were charged with retail theft and burglary, okay? The latest incident involved an Ecuadorian migrant, being described as an Ecuadorian migrant, who resides in Chicago and has been accused of stealing more than $3,000 worth of merchandise from retail stores and evading Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE supervision, by cutting off his electronic monitoring device, okay? Now, on January 3rd, it's being reported that Oak Brook officers responded to a retail theft call from a local Macy's store, okay? Upon arrival, and after conducting an investigation into what took place, Listen to what they found, y'all. Okay, officers, it's being reported that officers found that a 32-year-old individual entered the store and put on a jacket with an approximate value of $395 and left without paying for it. Okay, this is allegedly what happened at a local Macy's store in this community. Okay, now, following a search of this individual's vehicle, officers, and I quote, found approximately $3,000 worth of suspected stolen merchandise, as well as rolls of tinfoil. Okay, that's according to a press release from the Office of DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin. Okay, let me know your thoughts on this, y'all. What's really going on? What's going on? Okay. Additionally, Berlin's office noted that officers located an ICE monitoring device that the individual, and I quote, had allegedly cut off, as well as a fake Washington driver's license, okay, that featured the defendant's photograph with a different name. Okay, so here we are now. We have this situation. I just described what allegedly took place. Not only in this particular case, okay, and I'm just talking about this one specific individual who I do not know. It's being reported that they were found with stolen merchandise, allegedly, that they had allegedly cut off the ankle monitor and a fake Washington driver's license. Okay, that's cause for concern, because now some kind of way, right? And this is not to say that this has not been happening before, but this individual, okay, who is called a migrant coming from another country, and he was somehow, okay, this individual, I say he, but the name resembles that of a male. Okay, so I just say this individual because I don't know for sure. This individual was able to get a fake driver's license, okay, a Washington driver's license with the individual's picture, but a different name. Okay, now that's a cause for concern, because then that can open up many other problem areas, right? Where you're using a fake ID, fake name, and all of that, okay? Very concerning what's happening. My question is, I don't want to just assume that all of them are doing that, but how many of them are really doing that? Or is this just an isolated situation? Okay, you all let me know your thoughts on that. I know you may have different opinions. I'm just asking the question, okay, to encourage conversation. So let me know your thoughts on that, okay? Do you think situations like this are happening more so than those who are coming to be law-abiding and doing the right thing, okay? Listen to this, y'all, okay? Now, some of you may say, well, Andrea, they're coming over here. The fact that they're coming the way that they're coming is showing that they're not law-abiding, but, you know, there may be cases, okay? And I want to know your thoughts on this. There may be cases where they may come outside of the proper protocol, but then they may go through the steps to get the correct paperwork and documentation and go through the correct process, okay? To be recognized legally. All right, listen to this, y'all. So the individual, it says, who first appeared in court on Sunday, okay, has been charged with 1 count of burglary, which is being described as a Class 2 felony, and 1 count of retail theft, a Class 3 felony, okay? Earlier this week, it was announced that Judge Michael Burton had granted the state's motion to deny pretrial release for the defendant, okay? And the defendant is due back in court next month, okay? Here is a quote by the person that I mentioned earlier, who is the chief of police for the Oak Brook Police Department. He had this to say, and I quote, this was an excellent example of solid police work and looking beyond the initial incident. These retail crimes involving migrant offenders are part of a bigger criminal enterprise, okay? And he said, we are working closely with our federal partners to thoroughly investigate these cases, okay? Is this an extension of what's going on, okay? I'd like to know your thoughts on the chief of police's statement that these retail crimes involving migrant offenders are part of a bigger criminal enterprise, okay? What does that exactly mean, and what or who is behind that, okay? Now, also, offering praise for those who apprehended the individual. Berlin vowed to continue efforts to protect Oak Brook businesses and said, and I quote, "Contrary to popular belief, retail theft is not a victimless crime and has a far-reaching effect on the entire community." Okay, and that's what I want to talk about. You know, we've talked here on the channel about stores like Walmart, okay? One of the largest, if not the largest retailer here in the United States or worldwide. You know, they have themselves, okay, officials from these companies, and there are others surely, they have said that, you know, if crime and theft continues to happen and continues to be on the rise, they have said that they may have to close stores. Okay, well, in this example, Macy's was one of them. Macy's has even announced, I just saw recently, where they're going to be closing stores. When stores close, y'all, what happens? People are laid off, okay, unless they're able to be transferred to another store location. Those are people, individuals with families, individuals with, you know, plans. They have lives, okay, and their lives are disrupted, uprooted in some cases when they are laid off. So whether it's a large retailer or a small, what they call mom and pop shop, anytime there's cases of theft, burglary, things like that, crime against the store, crime against the, you know, employees, things like that, that has an impact, right? Not only on the store and the people that work there, but also in a community. Okay, let me know your thoughts on that as well. He also added, and I quote, "It is very simple. If you steal in DuPage County, you will be apprehended, charged, and prosecuted." Okay, now the arrest of this particular individual comes after several other migrants, okay, have been accused of taking part in various crimes in the Chicago suburb. Okay, last October, it was reported that 2 Venezuelan migrants were arrested after they allegedly stole nearly $3,000 in high-end cosmetics from the Oak Brook Macy's store. Okay, again, we hear another situation regarding Macy's. After entering the store, it was said that the pair of migrants filled a bag with 16 high-end fragrances and a pair of pants, all totaling $2,832.50. The 2 men, who were said to currently live in Chicago, were observed by an Oak Brook patrol officer and later detained during a traffic stop on October 31st, okay? Following their arrest, my sources say that both men, who were charged with burglary and retail theft, were released on pretrial release after a judge denied the state's motion to hold them in jail, okay? The Oak Brook Deputy Chief of Police Reed said, and I quote, "We are firm in our efforts against organized retail crime as we endlessly protect our community. We want everyone to be aware of the increase in criminal activity from the migrant community coming from Chicago," all right? 1 week prior to their arrest, it's being reported that another pair of Venezuelan migrants were arrested and subsequently charged with, excuse me, I got choked up there. I'm sorry, let me say this again, okay? 1 week prior to the arrest of those 2 individuals, another pair of Venezuelan migrants is being reported were arrested and subsequently charged with burglary and retail theft after they separately stole clothing from the Macy's store, okay? Both men, who were ordered not to enter another Macy's store, were later released from custody and fitted with an electronic monitoring device as a condition of their bond, the outlet noted, okay? Let's see. Okay, despite the string of recent migrant arrests, okay, Strauss told Fox News Digital that he doesn't believe that retailers in the area are, and I quote, "being targeted any more than any other location," okay? A spokespeople, the article says, for the Department of Homeland Security and ICE did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital's request for comment about the efforts to protect retailers and small businesses from theft by migrants or their accounting for migrants who currently reside in the U.S. who choose to remove their monitoring devices. Okay, now several American cities, the article says, have been forced to deal with the effects of the nationwide migrant crisis as thousands of migrants arrive at the southern border each day. Okay, let me know your thoughts on this, y'all. Very concerning. We know that according to several reports that many more migrants are coming into sanctuary cities such as Chicago, New York City, as well as others. Now, it's also reported, okay, that the current mayor of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson, was in fact in full support of migrants coming to the city while he was running for office last year. Okay, now we know that he, along with other mayors in some of these sanctuary cities, are crying out for help. Okay, actually calling on more aid to deal with the migrant crisis in their particular areas. Okay. His website said this, I'm sorry, and I quote, "Chicago is a sanctuary city. As such, we must always resist attempts to pit communities against each other and extend this sanctuary promise to everyone who needs it in our city, both long-term residents and newcomers alike." Okay, that's according to allegedly what his website says. Okay, listen, y'all, I want to know your thoughts. Here's another dimension now to the migrant crisis. Is this a legitimate reason, okay, to be concerned and to call for more control at the border, more security at the border, okay? And is this going to start happening in more and more cities, okay? Let me know your thoughts on this. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you all. And stay tuned for more news and commentary you can use right here on Andrea Speaks TV.